but I got quite a few signatures of people that live on North Harris and in the area that don't want it. I go over there all the time. Roy Townsend went over there on a non-peak time to see what goes on. So he goes over. Is it official or isn't it? And
Well,
Mr. Fuller went over there and sat for, what was it, an hour and possibly 40 minutes behind Speedway to see what went on. And everything is safety. They're going to take down the guardrail in front of that house. Okay, somebody gets coming through cross.
Yep.
They're not going to replace it. So
I just want to clarify something. I know that I was one that told the road commission, you do what you think is best. I'm not a road person, but I've heard from a number of people, along with Ms. Kaiser, that it's been said by myself that I supported it. So I would like to put on record, I do not support the roundabout. I don't know how the rest of the board feels, but that's something we could vote on or vote against if anybody wants to. But I'll make it public. I do not support it. I'm not sure where the road commission stands with it right now, whether it would make a bit of difference whether this board said they were against it. I do think they're going to spend more than $5,000 because they're going to end up buying that house. And yes, it's not probably our money, it's probably federal money, but it's still our money. And so I'll go along with it. But I do not support the roundabout, so I'd like to make that very clear to Mr. Roy Townsley that I do not support it.
thank you. I appreciate any help I can get to stop this roundabout. It's a waste of money. We have other roads that need to be done and fixed. Let's get that done before we do these fancy roundabouts. And the thing of it is, we now have this autonomous cars and that kind of stuff. At Willow Run, we're getting this big thing. Are they going to be able to do these roundabouts, or is this job security for the people at the road commission so that they can tear them out in a few years when we get the autonomous cars? Another thing, here's a brochure I have on winter snow plowing. Nothing is said in here about roundabouts. This roundabout is such a small one, you're going to have to do at least 3 rows. This, according to this, it says they will go 1 lane in each direction. The trucks to go on to cross from, coming from Michigan Avenue, have to go over the center. Now that's real safe, right? Distracted driving, you've got this big truck coming across the center of a roundabout while other people are trying to go around. Anyway, I do appreciate your help, and
Yeah, we discussed in the work session under other business to make a motion in support to give direction to the road commission. I'm not sure if it'll make a difference, but I am concerned that they keep saying the township supports it. That's not what we said. Well, I told them no, and then Larry said that basically it didn't matter what he thought, and that's what Karen said. They're going to do whatever they want to do. They did have the public meeting over there. We invited a large group of people to attend, and they had a very high turnout there. But I know personally 4 people on that street that told me they did not want the roundabout. I lived over there. I think it's this another roundabout, which is small like this, is in a subdivision in Pittsfield Township that doesn't have the same volume of traffic that this primary road. So I feel like it's like a test case, and I don't support doing it.
I was at the road commission today, and I told them that the board was very arrogant.
Their board.
Their board was
Okay.
very arrogant. Yeah.
Stupid, arrogant, I'm trying to,
No. But they are. They're very arrogant.
They are, yeah.
And they don't care. Arrogant, and as far as I'm concerned, that's disgusting to me. Because we are the people, we pay their salaries, and they don't care. They are autonomous. They don't have to answer to anyone, is my understanding.
Right.
So I would appreciate anything you could do, say, or whatever. And if there is anything I can do, please tell me, because I will go back as much as I have to.
Thank you, Ms. Kaiser.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
I just wanted to follow up also. I did speak with you personally and said that I will be talking to the Road Commission at the Washtenaw Area Transportation meeting. I did talk to them at last month. And I can concur pretty much what other officials have said in regards to pretty much that they believe that they had a right to put in a roundabout. So if the board takes a vote up or down on this, I will basically vote to not put in the roundabout. But I just wanted to make sure that you knew I did follow up on it, and I did also mention your petition at that time, and I had talked to Mr. Fuller at that point.
Thank you so much. And also, Ruth Ann Jamnick from the Washtenaw County Commission actually came to a board meeting and said about she was not for it. So, for what that's worth.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I would then ask the board if we could put it on other business to vote yes or no for the roundabout.
Okay. I agree to put it under other business. Any objections?
you.
If there's any objections, then we can't do it. Are there any? No? Okay.
Thank you.
Are there other public comment? Anyone? This,
My name is Christina Montague. I'm from Ann Arbor, and my daughter lives in Ypsilanti Township. And I am interested in opening a cannabis business in Ypsilanti Township. I have a very unique business plan because I'm looking to partner with other members of the community because in a dispensary, the state calls them provisioning centers. You sell a lot of edibles and a lot of different things, and people can make, women can make, senior citizens can make. If they got a really great recipe that my company, who we're great in packaging, that we could sell in our store, and we can partner with them. And this is a career move for somebody who had kind of maybe thought they were retired. But I'd like to do business in Ypsilanti Township, have a dispensary. I know that there's not been a lot of discussion, but I'd like to volunteer. I was chosen to sit on the state workshop committee on the safety and compliance. I volunteered to serve on that committee because I really wanted to know how to do it legally and how to do it the right way. It was quite astonishing to me. I'm just going to give you guys, because I had heard you hadn't got all the up-to-date information. When I went to a meeting today in Lansing where they were talking about how much they were going to charge people for licensing, I had been preparing myself for 50, 75,000, maybe 100, and they came off with this number. It seems like it probably was written by some lobbyists, but $300,000 for a dispensary. I think it was around, and then you could get up to this stack stuff if you were a grower and have a stack of 1,500 plants. So it seems like it was more written for corporate. So I'm just coming because you're the guys. I was at Superior Township last night just talking to them, and there were a lot of lawyers and people over there. But I'm over here tonight because, like I said, I want to do business in Ypsilanti Township, and not just for my dispensary, but I want to do business and create economic development opportunities for other men, women, and it's really, I like to take my dispensary line, my edible line, and take it national. And so just wanted to let you know, it's kind of just more than a dispensary. I want to create some jobs. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other public comment? Okay, hearing none, we'll move on to the agenda. Now we need to add budget amendments, and there was a request by Attorney Winters for a public nuisance case on Russell Street to add as well. And
They're on the agenda. Both of those.
when was it revised?
We revised the agenda. I sent it out. I'm not really sure the exact time. And then we put the new agendas on here with the actual, both those items on here as requested.
Well, I had specifically asked that we add it under other business for the budget amendment that I have to do, but we can discuss that later, I guess. But we also need to add the roundabout under other business.
I'm sorry, what?
The roundabout.
Yeah.
Yes. And Luke Bonner, who did a presentation in the work session, it had been requested that we put his economic development, retention of his professional services on the agenda with a contract coming back. So if everyone agrees to add those things. It was requested in work session that we proceed forward with retaining his firm as for economic development professional services, and that a contract, so he can proceed working with the understanding that a contract would come back to the board. Yeah. The actual name of the firm was Bonner Advisory Group. So we'll add that too as well. On the consent agenda, I have some corrections for the minutes, if I could. We didn't get time to talk about in the work session because we were doing other budget presentations. On page 6 in the work session, we were talking about the subsidy that was increased. It wasn't a fee that was increased. It was a subsidy to assist with people getting water assistance from the township. It went from 15 to 20. It's on page 6 of the...
You said work session?
Yeah. It says Supervisor Stumbo explained this fee was in light of the increase in the water rates to help, and it was a subsidy increase to help offset the water rate increase. Then on page 7 of the work session, it talked about the property taxes and the $350. So it should say, Supervisor Stumbo said the state of Michigan will reimburse all of your taxes. It's your property taxes, except $350, because the question was asked.
So you want property added?
Yeah. If they qualify under the guidelines of poverty, they actually get them taken care of. And Trustee Gerald Rowe had asked that question previously, and I just wanted to put it in the minutes. And then on the actual advertisement for bid, on the last sentence, it says Supervisor Stumbo said she does not understand why this was limited to one company. She said it was advertised for under $20,000 in the bid. The point of that comment was that we actually put $20,000 in our bid specs, and we normally don't do that. You don't put how much you expect to pay. You let the bidders pay. So what I didn't understand is why did we put the $20,000 into the bid document? Because then the person came in at $18,900. So I wanted to. And then on page 3 in the board meeting Um, Normally, we would take care of these, but we didn't have to. When we were talking about tabling or calling the question, and you said that you wanted to talk about it, and my comment was that we have talked about this issue at length, and that wasn't in there.
Yeah, where are you at?
Page 4.
4?
And it said, Clerk Rowe said it was not fair that we had not had a chance to discuss calling the question. And I said that we have discussed this issue at length, if we could insert that. And then there was no motion on it. It just says a motion passed, but it didn't say who voted for it and who didn't.
Trustee Eldridge had made the motion. He said, can I call a question? And you said, yeah, and it was supported, so that was a motion.
No, but the final... Correct. But it just says
Yeah,
that
it does. It's at the bottom. It says the motion passed, the last one above new business. We did vote on it. No, it didn't say unanimous. It says the motion passed. It's right above new business on page 5. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but you didn't pass how the vote was. It was an actual motion.
Okay, what are you asking? Say it again. Make sure I understand.
It said there was a motion support to approve the agenda item, but it says the motion passed. It didn't say how the vote was taken. On the page 5,
Right. What do you mean? There wasn't a roll call. Right. And so if the motion is made and there's no roll call and it's unanimous, we put unanimous. If it's not, we just put it passed. We don't put who voted for or against. We only do for or against if we actually do a roll call.
so you don't put how people vote?
Only if it's a roll call.
No, you put motion carried unanimously.
If it's unanimous. But it wasn't unanimous.
So why wouldn't you put in how people voted? Then I request that you put in how people voted.
We just never have. Because then you'd have to do roll call on all of them to know. Because when I hear it on the tape or she hears it, I don't know how they voted unless I write it down.
Well,
Just like I guess if it's not unanimous, just if you want it all recorded, then let's just do roll call on when it's not unanimous. That's all.
or I can say who voted against it.
Or you can say, yeah. Pardon? I have no topic.
Well, this topic's important, Heather. Records are very important.
I understand, but if this is how we always write them in there, like we have the roll call vote for calling the question, and if every other motion that we make, we either just say it passed or didn't pass, then...
The only difference, I could go back and check, we might say, I know we never say who. We might say 2 for or 3 against, way like a million years ago. I don't think I've ever done that. We just do unanimous, pass, or roll call. We don't put down how people vote, because technically, legally, you don't know how they voted unless you do a roll call. It's all by sound,
I know
especially for the person who's doing the minutes.
No, but it would help you. I could start stating who voted for and against.
It doesn't. I don't need that unless the board is directing that they want the minutes done differently. And Trustee Gerald Rowe's right. We have not done that in the past. We don't record when it's not who voted how in the minutes when it's not unanimous unless it's a roll call.
Can I just request that for these minutes that you put Trustee Gerald Rowe voted no? Can you just do that for this one time? Does that work for you?
I don't even know. I have to go back and look because I don't even know what we're talking about. I'm just going through the corrections.
That's a clarification.
Ms. Monica?
Thank you. Okay, so if I have it correct, in the past, it was just put the item was passed or the item failed. If we could maybe in the future, and I'm just trying to find a bridge here, basically put if it was 4-2 or 5-2 or however many people voted for or against it, I think that would help. So that way it just gives clarity. I understand your point, Clerk Rowe. I also understand your point also, Supervisor Stumbo. I think it probably needs to be numbered-wise in the future, if nothing else.
Well, like Larry wasn't here, so how do I put him absent? And I don't know. Just
Madam Chair, I think some municipalities, when you look through their minutes, they actually say how the members voted as well as who wasn't present. Some municipalities, so it's really our preference of how we want to do it.
Madam Chair, I'm just really struggling to understand why we're spending this much time discussing this one thing, if this is how we've done it. And if you want, I can look back at the old board packets to see the last time we didn't vote unanimously to see how that was formatted, but I'm happy to put my name in there on the minutes.
Well, no, I think when it's not I think it is important to show how people voted. Not that it matters. I mean, it might not matter to you,
But
but,
that's like a process thing that we should then discuss as a board, not just about this one set of minutes.
well, it's the 1 minute I happened to look at that
I'll go back
all
and
these
find-
issues with.
I know that it's not been done since I've been doing minutes.
And I did do it that way.
I don't, we'll check. So, okay, you want
Trustee
to
Elder?
clarify it for this one and then bring
Yeah.
it back for the rest of them once you get the history?
Trustee Elders?
That's fine. I was just going to say historically, since I've been on the board, there was, years ago, it always indicated who was present and how they voted. Usually if you have a vote that's not unanimous, you can hear the one or two or three voices and generally make those out. Not sure how it was done in the past, but I know there was a notation because we have from time to time gone back to review those votes and seeing how the board has worked.
Okay, so,
I don't ever recall saying Joe Blow was absent, Susan voted yes, and Joey voted no. I will track. I will go back just to provide the information and then maybe look at how other places do it if you want to change it. I'm sure there's a lot of different ways, as Jimmy said.
and then on page 5, I would have done this at the work session, but we didn't have time. Again, the subsidy was increased to absorb the rate increase. The term is,
Where are we at?
this is on the subsidy for the water and sewer subsidy. It's not a fee. That's where it says Supervisor Summer said the similar resolution from the last year, except the rate increased. It's the subsidy that increased, not the rate.
Probably, I'm guessing that she's referring to the water rate. That's what I thought. The thing of it is, we have a new person, and she's pretty much typing them verbatim. She doesn't know the context. So and when I read them, it made sense to me because I thought it was similar resolution from last year, except the rate, that you increased the rate for the subsidy. And what are you saying should be there? What do you think you said?
When I see rate, we're actually increasing the subsidy. We're not increasing the rate of the water.
Right, it was a subsidy rate. So that just wasn't put in there. I
Well,
knew that's what it meant, but
And I did too, but I think if someone were to read it, it was kind of
but I'm just saying,
confusing.
but I can check, but I think that's, I'm guessing that you did say rate and you didn't say subsidy, and that's the way Shauna typed it because she didn't know the context, and she's just, a lot of the stuff she's just typing verbatim. And I'm trying to, and of course, when I'm reading it, I know what it means, so I'm not,
Right,
I get your point.
right. Yeah, I just want people to understand we were just, I mean, it was a good thing and people supported it, and I just wanted to show that. And then on page 7, it says Supervisor Stumble said, according to the memo, Deputy Clerk and Lisa Stanfield and Captain Keithar were present. And I did say that, but it was in response to someone saying, who was it? I believe it was Trustee Gerald Rowe, who said, well, who was at this bid opening? And so, I mean, she has that question, and without having that question in there, it just throws it out of context. Like, why would I just all of a sudden say, you know, there was more to that conversation than that one sentence that I said. I was responding to a question that was asked. So I would like that.
Okay.
And that's all I have.
Madam Chair? Thank you. I did have one. It's just one. And it's like basically on page 5 of the work session minutes. And I think it's maybe clarity. So it said, and I need to make sure I have the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 paragraph. It says Trustee Ross Williams asks if to make a decision, it had to come off the table. I think that I think it needs to be clarified because it just looks like it says if to make a decision. I know it says above. She would rather have the board, well, I don't know if I'm the she, I don't think it is. But she says she would rather have the board remove it from the table and to refer it to negotiations. Yeah, my particular question was, if I was asked to make a decision, well, I don't even like to read it like that. The decision was this particular item needed to come off the table? That's what it was. And the way it reads, it's kind of confusing. So I just wanted to just have that clarification. Also, and I know we're not there yet, but since we're on consent agenda, statements and checks, and this is not to try and say that money cannot go to MLife, but I did notice that $421 and some change went over to MLife.
I'm sorry, are you in the minutes?
No, I am not.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry.
Oh,
Yeah,
no problem.
yeah, sorry. It went over to MLive Media Group, $424.30. I don't know what it's for. I'm not trying to pick on the amounts that go out, but I do want to raise the point again, is that MLive do not come to our meetings. They do not cover information for our residents here in Ypsilanti Township that relates to governmental business. And it's just disappointing, and I just maybe even have a question on what are they actually being paid for. Maybe it has to do with public notices. If it does, then so be it, but I just wanted to make that point again.
So MLive is one of our records, right? Publication and record. But I do know that when they advertise,
Notices are through the legal,
they,
through them, but I think they do advertisement.
and for like employment,
Yeah, I'd have to look that up. I'm
Yeah.
thinking that it was
because we had all these
Okay.
employments, and so they advertise employments in MLive. I know that could be what it is, but sometimes, even though we don't appreciate them one iota, they don't come to our meeting, we have to use them for advertisement purposes. All right. So we have the consent agenda for the minutes and statements and checks and the treasurer's report.
Support.
Motion Doe, support Rowe to approve. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Number 7 is the attorney report, general legal update.
Madam Chairperson, there was a meeting last week where we met with Mary Miller from the DEQ and Nathan Vogt from the county in regards to the status of 923 Ecorse Road. And I won't belabor that point beyond the fact that they are working together with a plan to come back probably into late this year for a cleanup demolition. We did a request that they engage the neighborhood through Neighborhood Watch so that when it comes time for that building to be demolished, that they would engage the residents so they would know what's going on. I know Mr. Bonner was here this evening. I do think as you get into the contractual issues with him and starts doing the inventory of different properties, that obviously Ecorse Road commercial redevelopment, that is now owned by the Michigan Land Bank Fast Track Authority. Again, there's an opportunity for some very good infill commercial development. And I just want to make sure that 923 Ecorse Road gets included because it's not in our name per se, but it's obviously part of our overarching plan for redevelopment of East Michigan Avenue, of Ecorse Road and East Michigan Avenue. Also, I'd like to mention right now that if there is a special board meeting in November, that probably the fire chief and myself and Karen Wallen, Larry Doe, and Giovanna will probably also, we think we're very close to having a final product for the board's consideration in November with the Township firefighting bargaining team. They changed their bargaining team somewhat in midstream, and we've had very, very productive conversations, negotiations. And I'd just like to point out that even though Giovanna continues to have to deal with budget forecasts for this board, she's been very, very instrumental in assisting us in the fire fund forecasting process. And I would just like to at least acknowledge the chief and Karen, Giovanna, and Larry, as well as the firefighting team, for having, I think, some very, very professional and high-level discussions and negotiations. It doesn't mean we're all going to agree on every issue, but we have moved that needle from where it has been in the past, and I think in a very, very positive direction. And then finally, I did talk with the SBA, that's the cell tower lease consultant, Connie Rem, today. She's in San Diego, and they're still going to do everything they possibly can to close on the 2 cell towers this year. That might be critical from the standpoint of budgeting forecast as well, because that $740 that we'll get for these 2 cell towers has been dedicated for the payment of the Seaver fire and bond indebtedness. It's almost dollar for dollar what's owed on that bond. And I do have a revised option agreement that the board already authorized back in August for Supervisor Stumbo and Clerk Rowe to sign. There was a change in that because they wanted us to have a confidentiality clause, and that was taken out because it is a FOIable document. And so we'll have that re-signed this evening. It doesn't need for the board to reapprove it, just simply giving the board an administrative update in regards to what was approved back in August, and that we are on track to close by December. So I'll leave those 3 items alone for right now, unless there's any questions. But I think a special board meeting in November would be very helpful for the fire team in terms of getting insight from the board, as well as having the firefighters bargaining team present that evening. That's all.
So if we schedule a special meeting, set aside time for that as well?
Yes, I believe, Chief, we told them, Chief, I think we told them in our last bargaining session they were looking at maybe that second week in November, perhaps, if we have a special board meeting for the firefighters. I know we're meeting again after the last week of October, so I know it's kind of a scheduling thing for the clerk's office and everybody to figure out which day it is, but I think we mentioned the beginning of the second week, perhaps, in November.
Yes, due to the election at the start of next month, and we were looking for the second meeting scheduled meeting, or I think we were looking more special meeting.
In that second week.
Yes.
If it works out, if not, we may not make it until the regular board meeting, but if at all possible, we'll need extra time to discuss the contract, especially because of the previous contract when the new trustees were not on the board to put everything in the contract. So we'll schedule the time regardless of whether we have a special board meeting or not, just to give you an update that we've had very, 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 I think, very positive conversations and negotiations.
All right. Very good. So if we can schedule one, we will. We have to coordinate everyone's schedule because we do need to have one for, if we could, the budget. That would be great, too, if we could. All right. Next item on the agenda is under old business. It's a second reading of Resolution 2017-20, which is proposed ordinance 2017-475, an ordinance to amend Chapter 22 of the Code of Ordinances, Article 4, regarding persons standing in roadways soliciting contributions on behalf of the charitable or civic organizations. The first reading is held at the September regular meeting. September 19th, I'm sorry.
Resolution 2017-20, whereas the Michigan Legislature enacted Public Act 112 of 2017, which governs local government authority to regulate roadside solicitations by charitable and civic organizations. Whereas the Public Act 112, 2017 requires local governments with ordinance regulating roadside selections amend their roadside solicitation ordinance so they are consistent with revisions of PA 112 and of 2017. And whereas the amendment set forth in Ordinance 2017-475 bring Township Ordinance 42-154 into compliance with state law by allowing charitable and civic organizations to solicit roadside contributions from persons inside motor vehicles during daylight hours, and be it resolved that ordinance number 2017-475 is hereby adopted by residents. I would so move the second reading of ordinance number 217-475.
Motion Rowe. Support Eldridge. We have to do a roll call vote. Gerald.
Jill Rowe votes yes.
Eldridge.
Yes.
Ross Williams.
Yes.
Rowe.
Yes.
Stembo, yes. Doe.
Yes.
Wilson.
Yes.
Second reading is approved. Under new business, we have Budget Amendment 14.
I have a motion to increase the general fund by $16,591 to $11,028,950. Approve the line item changes as outlined. And so move the budget amendment. This is all for the security cameras.
So motion and support, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The next item on the agenda is request to cancel November 7th, 2017 Ypsilanti Township Board meeting due to a special election, and that we try to schedule a special meeting.
Support.
Support Wilson. Any questions or comments? Yes.
When we do this special meeting, can I just ask if it's okay with everyone else that we do it in the evening to allow for more residents to attend? Typically, we do them in the morning sometimes, but we could do it in the evening.
Yeah, I think for... Yeah. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Number 3 is a request of Mike Radzik, OCS Director, for authorization to seek legal action, if necessary, to abate public nuisance for property located at 1571 Russell in the amount of $10,000. Budgeted in line item 101-950-000-801-023. Motion Rowe. Support Eldridge. Discussion. Mr.
Question?
Grant? Oh, no.
Whatever.
Yeah, I had sent a letter over the weekend because Mike and I had a chance to talk about this property. And again, this is a very problematic situation with U.S. Bank and other unknown entities. The house has been vacant or foreclosure for a few years, vacant since June. Ordinance Administrator Bill Elling has been out there maybe a dozen times or close to it checking on his property. He cannot sit still for another 12 months. You saw the photographs and rodent infestation. And again, we're trying to do what we can to get ahead of the headlights on some of these issues here. And even though we've had tremendous success stories, one of these houses can really throw a curve at our overall neighborhood stabilization. I know Director Radzik and I think you've had a chance to go through this too, Mike, I think. And I don't know if I missed anything or not. I just was going through it over the weekend. I wanted to let the board know that I didn't want to wait another month on this property, given the history of the U.S. Bank National and their recalcitrance towards their registered properties. I don't know if I covered that or not. I think I did. Okay.
I'm sorry, we're all just... So we have a motion and support. Are there any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Under authorization of bids, we have requests of Eric Copeland, Fire Chief, to seek sealed bids for the replacement of carpet at the fire headquarters located at 222 South Ford Boulevard.
So move.
Support.
Motion Rose, support Eldridge. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Under other business, what?
I was going to move that we approve the hiring of Fire Advisory Group for a year, with understanding that the contract will be reviewed by the attorney and brought back for board approval to economic development.
The motion by Rose, supported by Doe. Are there any questions or comments?
Madam Chair,
Yeah.
can I just offer a suggestion or a friendly amendment that we go ahead and include in that motion the additional $30,000 for the marketing, so it would provide for a seamless transition from his plan into actually the activation of it, and utilize Mr. Bonner and his firm to help us select somebody to do that work.
In the, would you like that in the 2018 budget? Is that what I,
Yes, ma'am.
yes, okay.
That would be a friendly amendment to me.
Is that accepted?
Larry?
Yes.
All right. So there's a motion of support to approve it with a friendly amendment that it be put in the 2018 budget. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And I did just quickly look up in January, April, and July, they did have roll call votes. So it was listed previously.
For what?
For board minutes?
For board minutes?
Mhm.
For all minutes?
I looked up January, April, and July, and there was not a unanimous vote.
Okay.
They had
They
it.
had the roll call, okay.
Yeah.
Can you please add to the last minutes that Gerald Rowe voted no? I was the only no vote for that motion, to be clear. Thank you.
Yeah, we already asked for that, right?
Great, yep.
All right, motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
You can ask for opposition.
All
All right, we are all set.
right.